Xavi Simons has had the best season of his career since transferring to PSV. We'll be taking over the Dutch side for this rebuild in what is Ruud van Nistelrooy's first season managing the club. Expectations are high as the team is looking to expand their youth academy, challenge Ajax for the Eredivisie title, and reach the final of the Europa League. It wasn't an easy group stage for PSV matching up against the likes of Arsenal, but I've replicated their results up until January, and that sees the club in the running for the league title and advancing to the knockout stages of the Europa League. With our youth academy being a big focus in this rebuild, our first signing will come in the form of a homegrown talent, Xavi Simons, a Dutch center forward slash striker, already an overall rating of 65. With some time on the Bombardier development plan, he managed to grow his rating up until 67, which sees him promoted to the first team. In order to further promote that growth, we'll be loaning him out to Galatasaray for the remainder of the year. But a transfer budget of 30+ million will see some winter arrivals. PSV are in desperate need of improving their defense, and Milan van Ewijk is an experienced player with extensive history for different clubs in Netherlands' first and second division. PSV have a good history of signing players from outside of the Netherlands' top 4 clubs. And at a transfer fee of only 10 million, Van Ewijk might be able to follow in the footsteps of another former Heerenveen and PSV player, Denzel Dumfries. But how about this for a matchup in the preliminary rounds of the Europa League? It's Rangers, who knocked out PSV in the Champions League qualification final. They fared a lot better in this simulation, actually accumulating points in the Champions League and finishing 3rd in their group. One player to keep an eye on is Antonio Cholak, who scored the majority of goals in the two-legged affair between Rangers and PSV. But here is our starting 11. Not many changes from what you saw at the beginning of the season, but now we have the squad depth. Some good scorelines to go along with that as well, as we start with a 3-0 result, and in the second leg, manage a 3-1 victory, which will see us advance to the round of 16, matching up against Stade Rennais. Steve Mandanda still going strong in career mode and keeping a respectable 79 rating. Unfortunately, we will see an injury for one of our starting 11 players, Noni Madueke, out for 5 months with an ACL injury, and that will see us shift some players around in the starting 11. Most notably, Simons will feature as a right winger. That is a position that he can play. It'll take some time for us to adjust to these changes as we lose the opening fixture 1-0, but see a comeback in the second leg. Joey Veerman, who's also a pretty new arrival at PSV, scoring both the goals. It's not going to get any easier for us as we will face Juventus in the quarterfinals. Got a lot of potential players to feature, but I found this Aaron van Bissaka move quite interesting. A lot of English and Premier League players moving to Serie A in recent seasons. Juve get the better of us in the first leg 2-1, but it's a late comeback in the second leg and a winning goal from Veerman that sees us advance 4-3 on aggregate and face another Italian opponent with Lazio. It's World Cup season for Benjamin Pavard, who of course scored that incredible goal in the 2018 World Cup. He's up to an 81 overall at Lazio, and it looked like we were coasting towards the Europa League final with a 1-0 win in the first leg. But very unlucky for us to see this go to penalties and lose. This first season left us with a little bit more to be desired. A 3rd place finish in the Eredivisie, a first round exit in the Oranje, and of course a semi-finals loss in the Europa League. AZ will end Ajax's streak as Eredivisie champions, as they will win the league. No promotion or relegation to consider for this rebuild, but I wanted to highlight Heerenveen, who have lost a lot of players to us, finished 16th. Ajax with the win against Feyenoord in the Oranje final, and it's Sevilla who have taken the step up from consistently winning the Europa League to now winning the Champions League final against Sporting. If it counts for anything, the team that defeated us do go on to win the Europa League, as Lazio get the win against Spurs in the final, with Villarreal picking up the Conference League title against West Ham United. There are a lot of transfer rumors going around regarding Cody Gakpo, purely based off of his World Cup performance alone, but also his performance in recent seasons in the Eredivisie. He was our top goal scorer and assist maker this season, so if he ends up leaving, we'll need to make up those goals elsewhere. But I'm happy with the development of our homegrown talent, Simon, up +6 to a 71 rating, and we'll be following the status of Xavi Simons each and every season. We're trying to have him exceed his potential of 87 by the end of this rebuild. Make sure to keep watching to see if we can do it, but we head into season 2 with a manager rating of 54. There's several question marks moving forward with this PSV squad, but if you're enjoying the rebuild so far, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as we start to make some changes to this starting 11. Will Madueke be able to recover from his injury and become a star player? Expectations from the board are actually quite realistic as we look to sell some players and sign one crucial player to replace them. Domestic success staying the same as we try to win the league title and also win the Beker, and a slightly lower objective for continental success as we try to reach the semi-final of the Europa League. Our transfer budget has doubled to about 60 million, but that number will be rising as offers start to come in for Cody Gakpo. I still think the top rumored destination is Manchester United, but an offer from Chelsea wasn't bad. They actually included Christian Pulisic as part of the deal. But we went into talks and ended on 125 million as the final transfer fee. Another big exit to complete our board objective as Sangare heads to Spurs for 60 million. In my research, I saw some mixed feedback on Philip Max, so I decided to let him leave. Not a bad player, but for 15 million, we'll take those funds from West Ham. Now this is where the fun starts, and our first transfer will actually be technically a free agent just because Liga MX is no longer in FIFA 23 career mode, but there have been some heavy links between PSV and the El Tri player. He's one of Mexico's best goal scoring options in the World Cup right now, alongside another former PSV player in Chucky Lozano. He was probably ready to move to Europe a season or two ago, but now is the next best time as we see his arrival on a free as a crucial first team player. Of course, with Sangare leaving, we also need to fill in that center defensive mid spot, and a load of Boca Junior players have recently received a real face scan in FIFA 23. Alan Varela being one of them. He works best as a lone CDM, which is perfect for us in our 4-3-3 defending tactic. And having previously been scouted by PSV and with a rumored transfer fee of just 10 to 15 million, I was happy to make this transfer. We had to spend a bit more at a 35 million figure, but not a bad deal considering all the funds we received for the Gakpo transfer. Our third and final signing of the transfer window will be Pascal Struijk, who's become a regular player in Jesse Marsch's lead side. With that said, I think the club is going to continue investing across the board, and if it happens that Struijk phases out of the starting 11, a move back to the Eredivisie is certainly a viable option. Just 12.5 million to finalize the deal. With his contract expiring at the end of the season, we were able to bring him in for less than his valuation. Still plenty of funds left over, so we're going to disperse our youth academy scouts to the Netherlands for 9 months looking for any type of player and fill out the remainder of our youth scouting with a 5-star scout. The Belgian will be staying in his home country for the remainder of the season, looking for any type of player. Plenty of other options for our third scout, but I settled on England as his next destination. You see more and more young English nationals seeing development in the Eredivisie. But a good match for us to start our season against Ajax as our first league fixture. Here's the starting 11, of course, a couple of changes with the additions of Varela as well as Vega. With Simon, we'll be switching from center forward to striker. No change to his rating, but I think the poacher development plan will help out his development just a bit more. If we do want to win the Eredivisie this time around, we're going to need to get better results. Ajax get the better of us, an 89th minute winner from Bergwijn. But the Europa League is also going to be a big focus. Mönchengladbach, Watford of all teams, they must have won the FA Cup, and Derry City will be our opponents in the group stage. The top player at Mönchengladbach is without question Jan Sommer, who's having a decent performance so far in the World Cup. Devin Wrench actually making the move from the Eredivisie to Watford at a 76 overall. And for Derry City, not the most high potential players there, but Ronan Boyce at a 63 rating will be the one we feature. But checking on results in January 2024, we've seen a great outing in the first half of the season, topping the Eredivisie due to goal differential. And for the group stage of Europa League, respectable outing from both us and Mönchengladbach. We will finish first though. It's clear that what we're doing for tactics is working, but the question now is, do we want to start thinking about the future and signing some older and more experienced players like Jorginho Wijnaldum? He has experience playing for both Feyenoord as well as PSV in the Eredivisie. And with his contract expiring at PSG, we could have signed him on a free. I'm just not sure he's going to break into our starting 11, which I think is what he wants at this stage of his career. We will see some departures though, as Ramalho joins Fulham on a free, Mwene making the move to Porto at the start of next season, and Bruma, who had some good potential back in the day, is going to make the transfer to Nottingham Forest. But our attention goes back to the Europa League, as this time we get our start in the round of 16 against Fenerbahce. Michy Batshuayi already scoring for Belgium. We'll see if they're able to advance to the knockout stages of the World Cup. But goals galore in the first leg as we see a 5-2 victory, a lot of those goals coming from Xavi Simons. The second leg, not quite as exciting, but just as dominant, as we'll advance 7-2 on aggregate. That pits us against Porto in the quarterfinals. Always one of the tougher teams to play against from outside the top 5 leagues, especially when they have a high-rated goalkeeper like Diogo Costa at an 84 overall. We kept things close though in the first leg, 1-1 draw, but just like last time in the Europa League, we will see an exit in extra time. Taremi scoring in the 98th minute to give Porto the advantage, and we will see our European dreams once again come to an end. But all hope is not lost for some silverware. We've got the Oranje Beker final on the 14th of April. It's an opponent we should be able to take care of with Vitesse, and we will see the winner. It's Simon, our homegrown talent, to score twice to give us the win. And De Jong, in probably what will be his final season as captain, will lift at least one trophy. But with time running out on the Eredivisie season, we've got a few fixtures remaining, and we have a chance to secure the title. It won't be easy though, as we play AZ, a team that won the league last year. But I'm going to put my faith in Simon. He's scoring goals for fun, and I think he can do it here against AZ. It's always a fine balance when you're making changes to the starting 11, especially in featuring youth academy players. But I think it's important for these Eredivisie saves because you just see some of the world's best talent coming out of the Netherlands. But an opening goal from AZ, it's a disappointing one as we were trying to clear it away. You can actually see it on the replay. I think we had to make that slide tackle to get the deflection, just ended up not in our favor. But we're answering back. We put our confidence in Simon, and he will repay the favor as he finds the equalizer in the 59th minute. Everything to play for in the final 30 minutes or so, but we were just unable to generate chances, and this one will end in a draw, which means that we won't be lifting the title on this specific match day. But I think it comes as no surprise that we still finished first in the Eredivisie. It's a 4-point difference at the top, giving us our first league title of the rebuild, and hopefully the first of many. Some familiar names at the bottom of the Eredivisie standings, but as far as Champions League goes, it's another surprise as RB Leipzig defeat Barcelona in the final. Eintracht Frankfurt win the Europa League against Aston Villa, and it's Nice to win the Conference League against Getafe. It was a breakout season for Simon, going up +6 in his overall and scoring 36 goals across 45 appearances. Alexis Vega, in what was his first season as well, secured 15 assists from 47 appearances. Simons is quickly approaching his set potential of 87, up to an 85 overall, and quickly surging in his evaluation. We managed to find a couple of promising youth academy players. Tommy Walters is a 65 rated English goalkeeper. Leandro Stevens, a 63 rated Belgian striker. Maybe we found the next Dries Mertens here, but our manager rating in much better shape. Now we just need to find that success in European competitions. After a successful campaign, I'm going to be trying a different transfer strategy of mainly looking to retain talent. Our board expectations are going to look pretty similar for the domestic success as we try to repeat as Eredivisie and Oranje Beker winners, but in the Champions League, we have to try to reach the semi-final, which is not going to be an easy task. Even though we have a massive transfer budget of 160 million, I don't think we need to sign all that many players. We do want to add some squad depth though, and I think Ricardo Pepi is the perfect kind of striker to sign. Probably the biggest surprise player not included in the US men's national team squad for the World Cup. The striker is scoring goals for fun during his loan spell at Groningen in the Eredivisie. I think especially for strikers, they should be playing at clubs where they can score goals, and if it's working for him in the Eredivisie, why not take the step up to a higher profile club in the same league? It will be a 15 million transfer, slightly more than his evaluation, but that should secure us a backup striker moving forward in this rebuild. Now PSV are very sound with making some free agent signings. It's worked out well for them in the past, and I'm hoping it can work out here with Nadim Amiri. He's playing for a Leverkusen team that is struggling, and he has himself seen a couple of loan spells in recent years. I think a squad rotational role will be perfect for him moving forward. Our next free agent signing is a player that I haven't heard too much about myself, but he's got an interesting background. Ian Matson is a former PSV Youth Academy player that then made the move to Chelsea's Youth Academy. He's seen a couple of loan spells in recent years, but he seems to be doing very well for Vincent Kompany's Burnley side. Maybe a player to keep an eye on in future years for Chelsea, but for now he's going to sign a rotational contract. A couple of departures from the squad, albeit not being for the most high-profile players. Timo Baumgartel making a return to the Bundesliga as he signs for Wolfsburg for 15 million. Opisbo, not a bad center back, but was never our first choice, so a move to Southampton for 13.5 million will surely give him some minutes. And finally, we've got Marco van Ginkel making the move to Serie A as he joins Spezia for 5 million. Keeping the trend of youth academy scouting, we've got a network set up in the Netherlands for 9 months, as well as Morocco for 9 months looking for a playmaker, and finally Brazil as we search for a technically gifted player. We keep seeing our Eredivisie season start against Ajax, but our starting 11 hasn't seen any changes. We will see a change in opening results though, as we get the 2-1 win, Alexis Vega scoring both goals for us, and now we can focus up on the Champions League. For the group, we've got PSG, Benfica, and Slavia Praha. I think we've got to perform very well to advance out of this group, because PSG have some good players and a former Eredivisie talent with Mies Hilgers. Myron Boadu is another player we should know well for his time at AZ. He's playing for Benfica at an 81 overall. And Slavia Praha aren't bad at all, as they have some high potential players. Jurasor at a 78 rating is someone that we need to look out for at striker. But January 2025, we'll see if we can keep up on results, and that we have a 15-point difference between us and Ajax at the top of the table. That's what we want to see. And for the Champions League, we surprisingly topped the group with 14 points. Some big results, including a 6-0 win against Slavia Praha, was enough to do it. We've seen some consistent growth in our starting 11, and we'll see if we can continue advancing in the Champions League against Roma. They made some great signings in recent years, my favorite being Paulo Dybala. He's holding strong at an 86 rating, and it is a 1-0 result for Roma in the first leg. A 1-1 draw in the second leg was not enough for us to advance to the quarterfinals. So we'll again place a big focus on domestic competitions as we close out this season. The Oranje Beker final being played against Ajax. We have already secured the league title. We might even be able to finish the season without any losses. But I don't think I can complete this rebuild without matching up at least once against Ajax in game. So let's get into this fixture. Ajax having somewhat of an advantage in this one, as the match is played at their home ground of the Johan Cruyff Arena. Great stadium though, and one that I've had the chance to visit. But with us dominating the league, I think we've got a fair shot of winning the Oranje Beker final. And with Simons improving in his finishing especially, he has become quite the player, and he will be quickly approaching that max potential of 87, if not exceeding that by the end of this rebuild. He gives us a second goal in the first half as we make some changes in the second half. Madueke being brought off, and it's Bakayoko being brought on. He'll pick up the ball down this right side and get it on his preferred left foot. And what a chance here in the 72nd minute. The Belgian youngster impressing in the couple of minutes that he was able to feature, maybe giving us some decisions to make moving forward as far as the starting right wing spots. But a big 3-0 win against Ajax will further establish ourselves as the top team in the Netherlands and add one more title to our trophy cabinet. As is often the case in these Eredivisie rebuilds, we found success in the Netherlands. We just need to find the same sort of success on the European stage. But taking a look at results, we did pick up a single loss. It's a bit disappointing to see, considering how dominant of a season we had. As far as the lower end of the table, it's Excelsior to finish in 18th. For the Champions League, PSG, the team that finished second in our group, actually win the competition. Marseille will defeat Stade Rennais in an all-French Europa League final, and it's Atletico Madrid to defeat Porto in the Conference League. It's Alexis Vega who takes over as the top goal scorer in Season 3. Xavi Simons with the most assists, now at that 87 rating we were striving for at the start of this rebuild. But a couple of new additions to our youth academy. Andrade, a 66 rated Brazilian winger with potential of 92 to 94. Ibrahim is a 63 rated Moroccan center forward with potential of 90 to 94. Our manager rating going through peaks and valleys. Hopefully we can be on an upward trajectory moving forward. When it comes to transfers, I feel like every other season for these Eredivisie saves, you start to see some big departures. I think that'll help us meet our objective of signing 2 players of a different nationality from the club. As we look to continue our dominance in domestic leagues, continental success, we again have expectations to reach the semifinal. We probably won't need to worry about our transfer budget moving forward, so we'll look to build upon some good storylines. But the offers have started to come in for Madueke. I wanted to have him return back to a London-based club. Spurs were the first one to submit an offer, and I think he could actually feature as a right winger for them. It's a big fee of 110 million, not quite the same number that Hakpo left for. But with Bayern on the search for a new striker, I think Simon is a nice addition for them as he departs on a 65 million fee. You might have guessed this transfer at some point in time, but we're finally going to make it happen. Memphis Depay shook up the footballing world and his 2015 move to Manchester United. Now at Barcelona and probably not getting as much playtime as he would like, there have been some links for him to return back to his boyhood club of PSV. As he starts to get older, he's going to play that center forward role for us, taking on the number 9. and it ended up being a 37.5 million transfer, significantly less than his current evaluation of 45.5 million. The rest of our moves will look to see us fill out some squad depth, the first being a center defensive mid in Luka Gurnia. RB Salzburg are known for developing these young talents, and they made a great deal to see his arrival from Saint-Etienne for just about 10 million. I don't think Salzburg will complain, as his evaluation doubles to 20 million over a few years. We'll complete the signing for exactly his value. Our third and final signing will be a legend of my Hamburg crew mode from last FIFA, Mario Vuskovic. I think if Hamburg don't see promotion back to Germany's top flight over the next few years, I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually makes a move elsewhere. He's not going to break into our starting 11 yet, but for 17.5 million, we've got another quality center back for squad depth. I would say this is the most difficult start to a season we've had yet, facing three of the toughest teams in the Eredivisie in Feyenoord, AZ, and Ajax, but I'm confident in our starting 11 and what they can do. Memphis breaking right back onto the scene as he scores the opening goal of the season and gives us a 1-0 victory. But the Champions League has to be a big focus for us. We failed to advance the latter stages in years prior. We need to do it against Manchester City, Atalanta, and Dynamo Kiev in the group stage. Erling Haaland up to a 94 rating at this point in the rebuild. Richarlison making the surprise move to Serie A, as he is at an 84 rating. And Justin Lundwijk is actually a former PSV player. He's currently at Dynamo Kiev and at a 75 overall. But January 2026, and we are once again at top of the Eredivisie, 10 points clear of Twente, who have broken into the top 4. As for the group stage, we will again see a surprise standings at the top of the group, equal on points with City, but ahead, as I believe it came down to goal differential. Despite our success, we're experiencing a couple of morale issues, but I don't think we need to make any incoming arrivals. We will see some more players leaving on a free as El Ghazi joins Aston Villa. Sambo, a pretty decent potential right back, but he's just not going to break into the starting 11, so he leaves for Dusseldorf. But our first fixture in the knockout stages of Champions League will be against Spurs. It's a return for Madueke to the club that got him to this level, now at an 88 overall. Scoreless in the first leg, but the second leg saw tons of late goals. Spurs will see the victory as Harry Kane scores the go-ahead goal in the 107th minute. I'm starting to wonder whether this team is good enough to reach the latter stages of Champions League. If we are going to win a European trophy, we need to do it soon. No surprises, we finished just about 30 points clear in the Eredivisie, with Excelsior continuing to be bottom of the league. As far as the Oranje Becker goes, we saw an earlier than usual exit with Feyenoord defeating Utrecht in the final. Spurs go all the way to the Champions League final and defeat Juventus in a 3-2 victory. Bayer Leverkusen getting the win against Real Betis in the Europa League, and Lyon winning an all-French final against Strasbourg in the Conference League. Alexis Vega continues to be one of the top goal scorers and contributors at the club, leading the way in both the goals and assist category. Not the best season for Simons in terms of numbers, but he's up +2 in his rating, now at an 89 overall. The goal now will be to try to get him to a 90 rating or higher. But this is what I mean about needing to accomplish things soon. I think if we dropped 1 or 2 more in our manager rating, we probably will get sacked. There's a lot on the line here in Season 5, and I'm excited about the changes I'm about to propose. For our board expectations, a couple of things should help us improve in our manager rating, such as signing youth academy players. But again, we need to win it all in the Netherlands, and for continental success, now we need to reach the Champions League final. Our budget is all the way up at 230 million, but the change I'm looking to make has to do with one of our youth academy products. It's our Dutch goalkeeper, who's now at an 82 overall and attracting interest from Real Madrid. With potential to be special, I think we give him a chance as our new number 1. That will, of course, mean Benitez leaving, and it's Chelsea, who seem to like signing our players as they pay up 30 million for his signature. We've got a few other departures, with Vertessen joining Arsenal on a 25 million transfer and Ledesma going to Sheffield United on a 5 million move. I think if we can generate some confidence from the Eredivisie and get some wins, we might be able to find success in European competitions. A lot of expectations for a young goalkeeper, but I think that Meyer can get it done as he manages a clean sheet in our Eredivisie opener. And now we can turn attention to the Champions League. We've got Bayern, Villarreal, and Helsinki in our group. Another return for one of our former players was Simon. He's at an 84 rating at Bayern. Malo Gusto seems to always move to Villarreal in these rebuilds, as he's at an 83 overall. And Vananen at a 72 rating for Helsinki. Our most important January transfer window to date will see us finish equal on points with Bayern in the group, but They've got the advantage in head-to-head fixtures, so we only secure a second place finish. Meyer's handling and positioning letting him down and not growing too much in his overall, but outside of the Vega injury, I don't think there's too much cause for concern in our starting 11. One further departure with Gustil joining Celta Vigo at the start of next season, but we've got Inter in the round of 16. We were talking about Denzel Dumfries earlier on. He's still at Inter at an 84 overall. It's a scoreless opening fixture, but the second leg sees Memphis score in the 86th minute and put us through to the quarterfinals for a change against RB Leipzig, who won the Champions League, and I think it was the first season. They've got Angelino, who spent a few years at PSV. He's at a respectable 85 rating, but we were the better side in the opening leg, 2-0. It was enough for us to still advance despite a loss in our home leg. And now we'll face Barcelona in the semifinals. Some great storylines, as we've got one of the highest potential players in career mode with Pedri at a 92 overall. But it is important to note that both Depay and Simons both played at Barcelona, and despite a 0-0 scoreline in the first leg, we got the job done in the second leg, and we will finally be advancing to a Champions League final. Our opponent will be Atletico Madrid, but we'll first review some of the results domestically. Winning the Eredivisie for the 4th consecutive season, and it's Volendam to finish bottom of the league. We lose in the Oranje Beker final to Waalwijk, which was a surprise. But PSG get the win against Manchester City in the Europa League final. Chelsea getting a 4-0 win against Rapid Wien in the Conference League, so Hakpo securing a trophy. In terms of goal contribution, Depay leads the way with 32 goals across 50 appearances. Simons up to that 90 rating with 20 assists from 49 appearances. What a road we've had to get here. Can we secure PSV their second Champions League title? This match will begin with Atletico Madrid holding on to possession by the byline, and Benjamin Sesko finding João Felix. He will not be missing from there as Atleti get the first goal 9 minutes into this one. Still plenty of time for us to answer back as we get some good build-up outside the 18-yard box, setting up Alexis Vega, and a cross goal. He will give us the equalizer. It's 1-1. And all things pointing toward a high-scoring Champions League final. Only a few minutes later, we're going to see some great awareness from Xavi Simons to play the ball across the Depay and a nice volleyed effort. Once again, a cross goal to give us the advantage. We really found some good confidence and chemistry among our front three. Vega, Depay, and Simons often joining into the attack alongside Bakayoko. But we continue that momentum into the second half. It's Vega to once again score in the 56th minute. And this is going to be a mistake out of the back. You don't see it too often from the CPU, but occasionally they're going to pass it straight back to you. And we are without doubt going to be winning this Champions League final. 4-1 is how things will end. What a rebuild it's been with PSV. I've been promising this video for some time after doing both the Ajax and Feyenoord rebuilds. And I'm glad that, in my opinion, we were able to do justice with some of the transfers and storylines. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.